Okay, I have to cook for my brother. How do I?
All right, so somebody says, can you go over one? Sure. There was a chain rule. Did you do derivative of a chain rule? That's the first question you should ask yourself. Man, did you do homework? You sure?
Mr. A, you're not on the you're on the streaming page.
Oh, I'm on streaming page. My bad. I should give a surprise shout out to Maddie. Like beginning. Anybody want to shout out to Maddie? No.
Where were you? Oh, yeah.
He's already
You do?
told you.
Sure.
Hi, Maddie. Hope you're pimping in Europe. Have fun, but also come back because it's calc time.
Hold on, you need to speak on the big camera. My perfect stream camera without a chat in front of me.
Okay.
Oh, I can't say that on the stream. One OCPS Wi-Fi.
Why?
No, nothing. Just have fun in Europe. Pimp.
Pimp?
Yeah.
What does pimp mean?
We pimp. Oh.
Huh?
I'm gonna explain pimp to you. Yeah.
All right, so if I take a derivative of this, it's gonna be 2 sine of x cosine of x.
You're on the streaming page.
Okay, my bad. And then I will convert back to sine of 2x, just because that's double angle identity. And then I'll take a derivative again. So that will be cosine of 2x times 2. So 0 equal to 2 cosine of 2x times 2. 0 equal to cosine 2x. So when is cosine equal to 0? Pi over 2 and the 3 pi over 2, right? But it's equal to 2x. So x is equal to pi over 4 and x is equal to 3 pi over 4. You didn't do it wrong, you just do it differently, maybe. But you had to take a derivative of the chain rule. Then they say 0 to pi, so anything 0 to pi, C is the right answer. Next question. Next question. Going once.
Number 4.
Number 4, number 2. Number 4 is a better question. I've been like raving about this question. This is like the best question I ever seen written because it talk about at least 6 different concepts. We're gonna count them. Okay, they say point inflections. So the point inflection is like this, and they also say equation tangent line. Just by those 2 alone, there's 2 concepts for in calculus. Okay, so point inflection occur in second derivative equal to 0. So f prime of x equal to what? 6x squared minus 6x. F double prime of x. And then you set 12x minus 6 equal to 0. X is equal to 1/2. You're like, oh, okay. So what I do there? There's no answers there. But they say equation tangent line. What is the equation tangent line? Y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1.
Oh, I got the question.
Tony, you're gonna fail the next test.
Bro, I had to like pump gas. I was on like 2 miles.
All right.
Where do you guys gonna be early?
I'm gonna find out the slope because I can plug in the derivative to figure out slope because I only got this information so far. I still need this and I still need this. Why? Because you need a slope, right? So what's the best way to find slope? Plug in the 1/2 into the slope equation, which is the f prime of x. So be 2 times 1/2 to the third. Oops, sorry, my bad. It's not highlight. Is 2 times, no, not 2. Idiot. It's 6 times 1/2 to the second minus 6 times 1/2. and that's equal to 6 times 1/4 minus 3/2. I think that's equal to, wait, it's not 3/2, it's 3. And that's equal to 3/2 minus 3, so that's equal to negative 3/2. So I find this one. And I find this one. Right? I need to find the last one. Last one is the original equation. F of the 1/2 is equal to 2 times 1/2 to the third minus 3 times 1/2 to the second. And that's 3 times 1/8. 2 times 1/8 minus 3 times 1/4. That's equal to 1/4 minus 3/4. That's equal to negative 1/2. And we figure out this is negative 1/2. Now, how many concepts we already deal with? We deal with inflection point. We deal with derivative, plugging the value into the derivative. That's 1. Algebra 1 concept. If you have 1/2, what's the y value? That's 3. Equation tangent line 4. Now we have to say, well, we want to, and also fractions. You got to be able to handle fractions. That's 5. Now you have to be able to convert this form into standard form, which is y plus 1/2 equal to negative 3/2 x plus 3/4. And I can move everything to the left side here, so it's going to be y plus 3/2 x equal to 3/4. That's 1/4. And I multiply by 4, so it's going to be 4y plus 6x is equal to 1. I love this question.
Can't you just like
No.
find a slope and then you could like eliminate like some like
Oh yeah, yeah, that's not the goal, because I won't give you multiple choice on my test. But this multiple choice is written really good though.
so you only have to find slope and then one of the you have to find the y.
Yeah, you can probably eliminate down to 2 choices.
People agree. I don't know.
That only work for like Bolsheva.
They said the answer was E, but I don't understand how it's E.
Okay. On a group chat, people are pretty smart. They say the answer is D is probably is D. Otherwise somebody would defy that. Otherwise somebody, I think it's Avadash, right? You say it's D. Okay. So Avadash, you want to explain why it's D?
So if you look at the slope of this graph, this is f prime of x. So the slope of this would be f double prime of x. And looking for when slope is 0 to 1 changing from positive to negative or negative to positive, which is at point B and D.
How many people are confused about what you said? Raise your hand if you're confused. Okay, so yesterday he also mentioned on the group chat, say, I don't know why I have so much time to read people's group chat. I pretty much have no life, just sit there, just monitoring people. So he also talked about it. Let's, it will be it can be a systematic approach to something. So I'm going to show you how I do it with a systematic approach to something. Is I take this graph, and we're going to talk about this more today. How do I do a systematic approach to this question? Guess what? On AP exam, a lot of time you don't have to know how to do algebra. I have a kid named Harmon. He didn't know shit about algebra. He got a 5 on AP exam. And the thing he's really good at is this type of question, analyzing. He's super at analyzing. He can just look at it, he can say the answer. Now his algebra didn't improve throughout the year, though. He got like 20 on the algebra test, and he ended up getting a 5 on AP exam. I had to call his dad. It's like, man, your son need to do homework. So I think his dad just refused to give him food after that. Then he had to do homework, and then he went from like a 20 to 50 to 60 to 80 to like End up getting a 5 on AP exam. So with this question, that you have to understand that how do we do a systematic approach? Now remember, we are looking for point inflection. That implies double derivative. Does that make sense? If double derivative, that means I have to take one more derivative. So derivative means what? 5-letter words. Slope, thank you. Slope of the f prime. So f double prime of x is equal to slope of f prime. Does that make sense? So slope, then I'm going to do a number line test. And this number line test, I'm not going to label anything. I'm going to label f double prime of x. The slope is equal to 0, just like what he says, which is happened at b, which is 0. Is that okay? And also at d, the slope is actually 0. But before that, slope is positive, minus positive. So point inflection occur in b and d. It ensures d.
If it was negative, positive, negative, would it not be B and D? Or would it
It would still be because the inflection point is basically the sign change. Josh, did you do homework?
the I
Oh yeah, you did ask about homework last night. Jack, define most of them. Or we kind of
like it's still 8.
okay. 8's not good enough. You have what?
Presentation.
For Mr. Prom? Cake. Light work.
Spell analyze. Spell analyze.
That's a hard work right there. I'm a fob. I can spell. Okay, next question. Okay, this is the question we want to analyze. But the problem is this graph is not giving you f prime of x. This graph is giving you f of x. So what did you guys come up with the answer? E. Catherine says E. Oh, you said B? Okay, let's look at B. Okay, Catherine says, I think the answer is B. I don't know, but she's not, seems like very sure. But let's look at if she's right. She's wrong, it's okay, then just fix it. It's not a big deal. So first of all, annotating. Annotating is like super important in calculus, like even though like you thought that's the AP Lit, but it's not. If you just annotate this, you just have to say, well, this f prime x greater than 0. That means f prime of x is slope is positive. That means the function is increasing. Does that make sense? Is that okay? What would be f double prime x greater than 0? What would you annotate? Concave up. Good job. Now, of the original function, right? But this is the original function. Which one's increasing? Well, b to d are the original function is concave up. But what Catherine missed is increasing in concave up. Okay, so so b to c is concave up. C to d is actually concave down. Look at the tangent line here. So this is concave down. This is up. But they both increasing. So you want an increasing in concave up. So that's only in this region. Does that make sense? And then, like I said, those questions are not easy. A lot of people like they can just spend like 10 seconds. Oh yeah, I think the answer is this. No, you really need to spend 4 minutes on it to each of those questions to figure out how to do it properly. Number 6. Let me ask, Vincent, what'd you get? Okay. Ding, what'd you get? B. Tony, what'd you get? Tony, you didn't do homework. Tony, what's your homework? Tony, you need to show up to school. Because no man.
Thanks, bro. I know I'm slacking, bro.
Okay. So f of x is, well, look at this graph. F of x is what? Greater than 0, equal to 0, or less than 0? Y is greater than 0. Above x-axis, great. Now, what about f prime of x? Less than 0 because what? Decreasing. Slope is negative. Good. How about f double prime of x? It's concave up because this is tangent line is below. It's concave up. Therefore, the only one that choice is B. What's going on? Okay, number 7, systematic approach. Okay, so a lot of you guys don't know how to systematic approach something. For me, number 7 is you have to draw 2 number line, and the best thing is number line on top of each other. If you do it on top of each other, you can see things much more clearly because you can see both simultaneously. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So f prime of x is equal to 12x minus 3x squared. F double prime of x is equal to 12 minus 6x, right? So, and I'm going to set it equal to 0. X is equal to what? 2, I believe. And this is x is equal to 0 and 4. So I'm going to do a number line test on the first derivative. So I'm going to write down the first derivative here. So f prime of x, which is equal to, the factor of that is going to be 3x times 4 minus x. So be 3x of 4 minus x here. And I'm going to do between 0 to 4.
Shouldn't it be negative 3?
I mean, you can factor out negative 3x if you want.
Oh, no.
It doesn't matter. If you plug it, 0 is going to be positive, positive, negative. So it's negative, positive, negative. So it's decreasing, increasing, decreasing. And then I'm going to do a second line. Now, pay attention. This is 2. 2 is between 0 to 4. I do 2 there. And min zone it out again.
Here again.
So if I plug in less than 2, it's going to be positive, negative. Now you see this, I align the 2 number line top of, above each other. They say decreasing, concave down. That means f prime of x must be negative, and it has to be same time as f double prime is negative as well. What was the right answer then? B is only right answer. Good.
Could you zoom in on B?
What?
Could you zoom in on the answer?
X greater than 4.
But if you look at number line on top of each other, the A is going to be increasing and concave down. Questions? Number 9. Sure, they say determine a value x which graph is g concave downwards. So that means second derivative none test is negative. So it'll be 30x to the 4th minus 30x to the 2nd. And double prime of x is equal to 120x to the 3rd minus 60x. So take out 60x equal to 2x squared minus 1, right? So 2x squared equal to 1, x squared is equal to 1/2. So that'll be square root 2 over 2 plus minus. So I will do a test between 0, negative square root 2 over 2, and positive square root 2 over 2. And I will line 60x here, so it'll be negative, negative, positive, positive. And I will line 2x squared minus 1. That is going to give you positive, negative, negative, positive, positive, negative, positive, negative. So when it's concave upwards is, so it's negative square root 2 to 0, and B
Yeah. Or two.
because rationalize. Okay, so this three you need to learn how to graph. You need to take a second derivative. I'm not gonna do all that because how much time I have?
A lot of time to graph.
We have
25 minutes.
Wait,
Hold on.
do we live at O2?
25. Yeah.
Any other question you want me to go over? I went over the whole damn homework.
You're not gonna go through the last three?
Which three? Which one?
The last
10, 11, 12.
Which one?
10 to 12.
Which one?
Either
Pick one.
Number 10.
10. Fine. X over x squared minus 1. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you take a first derivative correctly? Low
Wait, actually, it would have been better to ask 11.
d high minus high d low over low low. Is that okay? So f prime of x is equal to x squared minus 1 minus 2x squared over x squared minus 1 squared. So it'll be negative x squared minus 1 over x squared minus 1 squared. They cannot cancel, by the way. But you can take a second derivative though. So it'll be low d high minus high d low I can factor out the x squared minus 1. Anything I can factor out? 2x, I think.
Yeah.
And once you factor out, it should get negative 1 times x squared minus 1. And this is completely out. So it'd be negative 2 times negative x squared minus 1. I don't know if I'm doing okay so far. Hopefully. Or we approve. So it'd be negative x squared plus 1 plus 2x squared. And then what? Plus 2, I think. This one will cancel out level 3. So it'd be 2x times x squared plus 3, I believe.
Yeah.
And obviously there were there were negative 1, 1, and 0. I don't need to test x squared plus 3, so I need to test 2x and x squared minus 1 to the third. So it'd be negative, negative, positive, positive. Positive, negative, negative, positive, I think. Okay, so its inflection point seems like the negative 1 and 1, but the truth is there are no inflection point here. Why is no inflection point here? Yeah, they're asymptote at negative 1 and 1. Now 0 could be at inflection point. 0 is actually maybe good for inflection points. This is asymptote. This is a vertical asymptote.
We know that it's asymptote.
Because you look at original function, x cannot equal plus
Oh,
minus
true
1.
love.
And so you can know which regions concave up, which regions concave down, but inflection point is occur at 0. Double check the graph is right. I don't know if the graph is right, so we're gonna check. Yep, there's the only inflection point, see that concave up, concave down. The other one's asymptote. So always check the original function. See if it's true.
You do it progressive. I did product for product. I know it's a mistake.
I don't want to go all three. You should go over all three. So I'm gonna move on. Let's move on. Today's stuff. Today's homework super easy, but I want you to go back to tell you. Like I really like this homework, by the way. Hold on a second if I can find it. This homework I really like. So let's talk about what is on the test next week. You are for sure gonna get a question says find absolute maximum and minimum, just like the question I posted right here. So the reason why I put it out here is like there's two questions, find the absolute extremos. You are for sure gonna get those. And also last question here, this is like one of the better question I ever found. Absolute maximum min value. You are for sure gonna have a couple questions of those. So probably 2 to 3 questions. You are for sure gonna have rules value theorem, which is you have to know the conditions. So there are 3 conditions and result. And you gotta be able to do mean value theorem, which is conditions. There's only 2 conditions here. Result is f prime c equal to fb minus fa over b minus a.
Yeah, you don't have to draw again.
Oh, sorry.
Is the test is next week?
Mhm.
Okay.
You gotta be analyze the graph. See, I don't know how to spell analyze.
I'm missing a Y.
Somewhere there. I think it smells analyze. Analyze.
Does that have a difference?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh wait, no.
I can't.
Analyze. That's me. All right. So rules value theorem, mean value theorem, analyze the graph. You had to know how do you find increasing, decreasing, relative maximum, and min, and concave up and concave down. Concave up, concave down, and inflection points. In the first and second derivative tests. We're gonna talk about second derivative test tomorrow. And that's pretty much the extensive of all the things that you're gonna have on the test. Questions? Oh, you might have a curse sketching.
Christ sketching?
Draw the curve.
All right, so let's start with today's stuff. Today's stuff is super easy. It only takes 3 minutes to finish homework, so I will prefer you go back to review all the things.
It's gonna take like 2 hours for it.
No, it's literally 3 minutes.
2 minutes. Hey, Kobe, I expect 2 minutes from you. Okay, come on. Because 2 minutes is a long time, bro. That's not my accent. I can't do that.
All right. This is how do you systematic approach something. At first, I just throw you in the water, and I didn't tell you any way to how to come up your own logic to figure out how to analyze a graph. Now I'm gonna give you a tool. This tool is devised by this teacher. I stole a lot of worksheet from her, Miss Brown. She's very, very good. I think that's the probably one of the better worksheet out there that's nobody know about. But look at this. Always notified one thing. Look at which graphic that you're looking at. This is a f prime of x graph. This is not f of x, and this is not f double prime of x, this is f prime of x graph. AP exam love to start with the f prime of x graph. That's just the way they are. Now, also understand that this is a positive. Positive means what? This means f prime of x equal to positive. Why? Because above x-axis. And this is negative. Negative, this means f prime of x is below x-axis. So you're gonna get, here it's gonna give you a 0 because you got horizontal tangent, you got minus, minus, and plus. And this is the f prime of x. Does that make sense? Because you are below x-axis between -1 to 1, and from 1 to 4 is still below x-axis, and from 4 and on is positive. Is that okay? So that means this is decreasing, this is decreasing, this is increasing. Any questions so far? The second one, this one's kind of harder. So f double prime of x is equal to slope of f prime of x. We could tend to talk about on other question, because slope is means you taking derivative of f prime x. So if I take a slope of f prime x, that means double prime. Now here to here is what? It's a positive slope, so there's a positive here. And from 1 to 3, guess what? The function is going to go down, so it's negative. And after that, it's positive. So this is f double prime of x graph. And this is the concave up, concave down, concave up. What are the x value of the critical number? Well, f prime x equal to 0, where?
1, 4.
According to that, see that? This is a 1 and 4, this is a critical number. At what x value does f of x has relative maximum? Can you tell me? Ding, what do you think? Where's the x has relative maximum? Jack, what do you think? Catherine? Elaine?
1.
Min?
1.
Vincent? Tony?
5.
Rajesh? Irvi?
I agree with Raj.
And Avinash?
Think nothing else.
The answer is there's none. Tricky question, suckers. Because it never went from the f prime x never changing from positive to negative. It changed from negative to positive though. So
Oh, true.
at what x value does the f of x has relative minimum? At where? X equal to what? Okay, please, if AP exam asks you to justify, you better write this down. Justification if there's a justification, you better explain in the first derivative test way. You have to say says f prime of x change from negative to positive at x equal to 4. Therefore, you have relative minimum at x equal to 4.
Just put change from negative positive x equals 4.
What?
Can I just put like f prime of x change from negative to positive at x equals 4 and not put like therefore you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna get you 1 point. I'll write it down, but you probably that's good enough. But just write down when I equal to that. Increasing, you just have to look at the number line. Now, you cannot just base on a number line to do justification. The number line is not justification on AP exam. They never look at your number line, but they're gonna says you can use the number line to write down your statements. Increasing is gonna be where? Greater than 4 is not good, but it's 4 to 5. Because the graph stopped at 5. When it's decreasing? No, negative 1 to 1. Because at 1 it's not really decreasing, it stopped decreasing. And then 1 to infinite, 1 to 4. What x value does have point inflection? What? 1 and 3, okay, good. And if you want justification, because you can say f double prime of x change from positive to negative at x equal to 1, and from negative to positive at x equal to 3. When it's concave up, negative 1 to 1, union from 3 to 5. And concave down, it's gonna be 1 to 3. So that's your homework. Very easy homework, but make sure understand all the old homework. Make sure every single question is understood. Because your test is next week and it's gonna be based on all that stuff. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about one last thing. It's called second derivative test, which is normally people don't remember. So I'm hungry.
I'm just trying.
Somebody give me a candy back.
Year plus class.
Kids are gonna come to me.
Bro, Cody's our alpha student.
Right. Have you done both? Am I better than Tony? No. Yeah, man, am I better than Tony?
I don't know, man.
You wrote that I'm. You wrote that I'm off my notebook. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Look what,
Cody, you should put here.
look at what Elaine wrote. Look at what Elaine wrote.
I literally did.
No, that is not. God, you made it the English.
Gummy bear.
What did you write?
Look at what you wrote. Look, it's signed by you.
That my name is being spelled right on that.
What?
That's foul.
I can't believe you. I thought you were better.
There's this one Tony. There's this one Asian guy I knew in my.
I would not. I'm already on the sidewalk, bro.
I knew you were like telling you guys.
I don't know, some Asian guy. I forgot his name. I forget his name. But he would always write. He's writes Vietnamese.
So what?
I love writing around.
It's okay.
I got my shit.
I love
I was a one viewer. I got like, cause you said yesterday you're like, oh let's go. I got like one viewer.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah.
What are you guys talking about?